This is a fellow named Chip Hardesty. To see him walking on a street, or in the familiar routines of a family man, or even in the daily pursuit of his job, you might not pick him out as something special. But there is something special about Chip Hardesty. So special, a whole big, tremendously exciting motion picture has been made about him, and men like him. So special, it has been given this proud and distinguished seal. This is the official shield of the FBI. Now, for the first time, you'll see the real, the authentic, the fascinating inside story of the FBI. Chip Hardesty was there from the very beginning. He was in Oklahoma when the Indians were being murdered out of their oil. He was in Chicago the night John Dillinger was finally cornered. He was there when the FBI closed in on some of the most dangerous public enemies in our history. He was equally at home in the dense jungles of South America as he was on a deadly spy chase through the caverns of New York. Chip Hardesty, whose far-flung adventures will amaze you, and whose love story will linger in your memory.
The Bureau had nothing to do with what happened tonight. And you're not going to quit it. I didn't marry a ditch digger or a robin. I married you. And you're going to stay in the Bureau because good or bad, that's where you belong.
I'm taking over the surveillance from Silvano and moving south in Central Park. We're blocked in. Take over.
Hardesty.
Subject just left subway. Is walking west on 46th Street.
Tell NY 21, if and when Whitey passes the coin, arrest them.
Mike, would you get those guns and get out of here? Now beat it.
He's got to get over the idea that every time I want to get into this house, I've got to outdraw it.
Don't shoot, G-Man! Don't shoot, G-Man!
The FBI Story, 1959. A biographical drama about the history and workings of the FBI. The FBI Story, directed by Mervyn LeRoy and starring James Stewart, is more than just a cinematic chronicle of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's formative years. It's a sweeping panorama of 20th century American history, viewed through the lens of one dedicated agent, John Michael Chip Hardesty, and presented with a potent cocktail of patriotic fervor, historical reenactment, and a subtle, often unspoken commentary on the evolving role of law enforcement in a changing nation. While lauded for its meticulous detail and thrilling depiction of crime fighting, the film also invites scrutiny under a contemporary gaze, prompting questions about its hagiographic portrayal of the FBI and its uncritical acceptance of Cold War anxieties. The film opens with a grand, almost reverential tour of the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C., a symbol of order and justice in a world increasingly perceived as chaotic. This opening statement establishes the film's perspective, a largely favorable, if not outright celebratory, portrayal of the Bureau. It is here we meet Hardesty, a young lawyer initially hesitant to trade the stability of his legal practice for the uncertain life of an FBI agent. Stewart, in his characteristic everyman persona, imbues Chip with a grounded sense of morality and a deep-seated belief in the importance of upholding the law. His initial reluctance provides a relatable entry point for the audience, allowing them to witness the transformation of a civilian into a dedicated agent shaped by the Bureau's rigorous training and unwavering sense of purpose. The narrative unfolds as a series of vignettes, each depicting a significant case that shaped the FBI's history and solidified its reputation. We see Hardesty grappling with a range of challenges, from busting bootleggers during Prohibition to combating the insidious threat of the Ku Klux Klan in the South. These early cases established the film's dramatic tension, highlighting the dangers faced by agents operating undercover and the constant threat of violence that accompanied their work. The film excels in recreating these historical moments, utilizing meticulously researched sets and costumes to transport the audience back in time. The shootouts are thrilling, the investigations are intriguing, and the commitment of the agents is portrayed as unwavering. Alongside the professional challenges, the film also charts Hardesty's personal life, focusing on his relationship with his wife, Lucy Ann Vera Miles, and their evolving family. Lucy Ann, initially enthusiastic about Chip's career choice, gradually becomes burdened by the constant moves, the long hours, and the inherent danger of his work. Their conversations offer a glimpse into the personal sacrifices required of those serving in law enforcement, and Miles portrays Lucy Ann's growing anxieties with a quiet, understated grace. Her concerns, however, never truly challenged Chip's dedication. She represents the domestic sphere, a haven of normalcy and stability that Chip is fighting to protect, further reinforcing the narrative of patriotic duty. Interwoven within these individual cases is the overarching narrative of the FBI's evolution under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover. While Hoover himself is never directly portrayed on screen, his influence is pervasive. The film subtly establishes him as a visionary leader, a figure of unwavering integrity who transformed the Bureau from a relatively small and ineffective organization into a modern, technologically advanced force for justice. The emphasis on scientific methods, from forensic analysis to fingerprinting, underscores the film's portrayal of the FBI as a bastion of rational thought and objective truth, a stark contrast to the chaotic and often irrational world of crime. As the film progresses, the cases become increasingly complex and the stakes become higher. The rise of organized crime, the threat of espionage during World War II, and the looming specter of communism during the Cold War all contribute to the escalating sense of national urgency. The film makes no attempt to hide its anti-communist sentiment, portraying communist sympathizers as enemies of the state, undermining American values, and posing a direct threat to national security. This heightened sense of paranoia reflects the widespread anxieties of the era and serves to further justify the FBI's expanding powers and reach. The film's climax revolves around the pursuit of a dangerous communist spy ring, a case that pushes Hardesty to his limits. The investigation is fraught with peril, involving intricate surveillance operations, tense interrogations, and a final, dramatic confrontation. This segment of the film encapsulates the Cold War anxieties that permeated the late 1950s, portraying the struggle against communism as a battle for the very soul of America. It reinforces the idea of the FBI as the first line of defense against this insidious threat, a vigilant guardian protecting the nation from internal subversion. However, viewed through a contemporary lens, the FBI story presents a complex and often troubling narrative. The unquestioning glorification of the FBI, coupled with its simplistic portrayal of complex historical events, raises concerns about its historical accuracy and its potential to perpetuate harmful stereotypes. The film's portrayal of the Ku Klux Klan, while condemning their violence, also tends to downplay the systemic racism and oppression that fueled their actions. Similarly, the film's depiction of communist sympathizers lacks nuance, painting them as monolithic enemies of the state without exploring the varied motivations and beliefs that drove their actions. Furthermore, the film's uncritical acceptance of Hoover's leadership has become increasingly problematic in light of subsequent revelations about his controversial methods and abuse of power. The film presents him as a benevolent figure, focused solely on upholding the law, while ignoring the darker aspects of his tenure, including his surveillance of political opponents, his use of illegal wiretaps, and his efforts to stifle dissent. Despite these criticisms, the FBI story remains a valuable historical document, providing insight into the prevailing social and political attitudes of the late 1950s. It reflects a time when patriotism was often equated with unquestioning obedience to authority, and when fear of communism fueled a widespread sense of paranoia and suspicion. The film's success can be attributed, in part, to its ability to tap into these anxieties and to offer a reassuring narrative of law and order, portraying the FBI as a powerful force for good in a dangerous world. James Stewart's performance is central to the film's enduring appeal. He embodies the ideal of the dedicated public servant, a man of unwavering integrity and unwavering commitment to his duty. His portrayal of Chip Hardesty is both believable and sympathetic, making it easy for audiences to identify with his struggles and to admire his dedication. Stewart's star power and wholesome image undoubtedly contributed to the film's success and helped to solidify the FBI's positive image in the public consciousness. In conclusion, the FBI story is a complex and multifaceted film that offers a compelling glimpse into the history of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the anxieties of the Cold War era. While its hagiographic portrayal of the FBI and its uncritical acceptance of anti-communist rhetoric may be problematic from a contemporary perspective, the film remains a valuable historical document, providing insight into the prevailing social and political attitudes of the late 1950s. James Stewart's compelling performance as Chip Hardesty, a dedicated agent grappling with the challenges of his profession and the demands of his family, further enhances the film's enduring appeal. Ultimately, the FBI story serves as a reminder of the complex and often contradictory nature of American history, and the importance of critically examining the narratives we tell ourselves about our past. It is a film that should be viewed not as a definitive historical account, but as a product of its time, reflecting the hopes, fears, and anxieties of a nation grappling with the challenges of the 20th century.